morning to you. It's Daybreak at iFiber One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey, and I got a great guest in studio this morning here, 712 from Computer Creations Northwest, Troy Jasmin. Morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm well. How are you? Good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
You may know him as well as Quiet Troy around the community.
Try not to blow the mic out, so I'm keeping
I'll
the
just
voice
turn you down right here. You may just be able to talk through my microphone over here. So I was trolling around on Facebook, as I often do, and I see a post that you have put up there and shared it with the North Mason Chamber and some other organizations. We've just shared it on our Facebook page here this morning, talking about consumer alerts and phishing and new hacks on emails and attempts to get your information. This is picking up as the holiday season approaches.
It is. It is. That one that I posted that I've gotten actually some private messages on saying, hey, I got one of those too. As a tech, people think that I have everything under the planet to block those from coming in. You just can't.
Right.
When Google's spam filter went down about a month and a half ago, in just 2 hours, over 4 million spam emails got through. And so people that had never seen it before, some of those really bad ones got through, and they thought, well, hey, I never get these. This must be legit, because they would have stopped it. And then the announcement came out that Google's spam filter got blocked, or it was down. And so it was a quick fix, but it was a short period, and all that came through. And people are just being hounded all the time, but it stopped. Now you take the general public's email systems that may not be on Google; they're in-house. A lot of those get blocked. The ones for the county, the cities. There's a lot that happens, but some still get through. And they get through by basically how that email that I posted was, and it looked legitimate. Mm-hmm. It spoofed the legitimate name on top of it. Some spam filters only scan the surface; they don't scan underneath. Some are set to a higher setting, so you can do that with your spam filters online. You can do them with your computers. But anyways, these phishing emails are getting more prevalent as we get closer to major holidays, being Black Friday's coming up next weekend. I'm already seeing a bunch of them coming through. This sounds very crazy, but I actually lower my spam filter during this time of the year so I can see what's coming through to help. As I a couple of my emails, they're on that I've set up. They're actually on these different pre-lists for all these different websites, sales sites, subscription sites. I put them all on there so I can see, because that's who gets hacked. And your information may be out there and you don't even realize it. And you could have been hacked last year, but now they're waiting until... And then they've hacked your friends list, or they've hacked people that you know. They look on your Facebook account. And it's all done by computers and algorithm. So with all that, everybody's like, well, how do I stop? How do I protect myself?
How do you stop? What do you do?
So protecting yourself at your local computer can be done. There are tools, and we'll talk about that real quick here in a second. But the biggest thing is knowing what to look for. And a lot of people, they'll hear it, and then a couple months later, they'll forget. They'll get complacent. I've done it myself. And I've been in a hurry, and I'll be like, oh, geez, what do they need? And I'll click on it, and I go, oh, that's not a real, But when I click on it, my online tools and my local tools, if you have them up to date, your computer's running correctly like you should, it will protect against 99% of that.
Okay.
So basically, we'll kind of start at the top. So these phishing emails that come in, they will have your friend's name on them. They'll have universities that you went to. That'll have local municipalities wanting to collect on a water bill, and you're going, what do you mean I have this due? Or they're going to send you to collections. Right. You've probably heard the phone calls where, hey, this is the IRS, and and they'll use phone numbers from areas that you used to live or that your area code is. Like I have a 503 cell number that I've always had, but I will have a number call me that literally will be in my call list. And it will be somebody I know because they've just scammed a number in the area down there real quick and grabbed it. And I'll pick it up and I'll be like, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, hi, this is the IRS calling. And I'm like, what? And I'll hang up. And So it's not just emails, but they literally will grab other things and fish it and try to get you to pick up. So they want you to pick up. They want you to click on those emails. Even if they don't get you right away, they know that you're susceptible to clicking.
Right. So
with that in mind, these phishing emails will come in and it'll have the information that you need. Your friend's name, like I said, the municipalities. You'll see that, and then down below it'll have the message, and usually there's another link that says, click here for your invoice. Now, the one that I sent out, when you first read it, it looks kind of legit until I highlighted a couple points, being like the word here, there was a space in there.
Yeah, I noticed that.
When you look at the email address, it said Microsoft Office 365. I have 365. It doesn't exactly come with that exact name, but it was really close, and I thought, well, that's kind of strange. The second thing was they used an email address that got scammed from someplace that was not specifically ever attached to a 365 account. So they just sent me something that they thought maybe it would be on there. So those were two things that kind of stood out just for me looking at it. And then the next thing was I did a little drop down at the top, which everybody can do, or you can right click on the email address. It'll tell you what the real email address is. Now, obviously, you'd have something from Microsoft Online. It's actually .on Microsoft Online. If you know what it should be, it's a little easier. If you don't know, it gives you a chance to look. But that one was obviously a fake email because I could tell they were trying to use something, but it wasn't there. Now, I don't recommend what I did as an example in my description there, but I actually went and checked the address. I went through the blacklist. I went on to MX Tools, which allows you to kind of look up and see if a site is legitimate before you click on it. It showed that it was down already. Doing a little research, it was a scam that had been actually going around for a couple months, but it was on somebody else's computer and it got around to me.
So let me ask you about this. So
Sure.
I'm looking at the station's Gmail address inbox right now.
Right.
I see a message that the sender is Microsoft, we'll say, based on what we're talking about here.
Right.
The subject line and the first little bit of the message seems legit.
Right.
So stop me when I shouldn't click any further. Can I open the email message?
Yes. Okay, so the online ones are a little bit different. Okay. You can open those ones because they don't allow any package to be installed. When it comes down, if there's an attachment or something in there, typically your MSN or your old Hotmail, your Live, your Gmail, even the older Yahoo stuff, it still will stop when you click on it and open it. It won't allow it to run an executable. Where if you have Outlook and it downloads, it's a little bit different. That's why I recommend people do what's called a preview window instead of the list, because you can still click on it. It doesn't actually activate it. It gives you a preview of it before you, because if you double click on it, it sends a different signal than the preview window. It kind of keeps it locked in there. That's where you can kind of say, oh, this isn't legit. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. The online version, Gmail, stuff like that, it's still okay to open it because those ones are typically, they know that there's some things blocking them, so they're going to phish you on those ones. They have algorithms that say, oh, it's a Gmail account. Don't send any package. We need it to get through. And then they're going to put links inside it.
Okay, so now I have opened up an email from our Gmail address, and I look at it, and it still looks relatively legitimate.
Right.
And so one of the things that I do, I think similar to what you do, is I'll hover over a hyperlink.
Exactly.
And then look in the bottom left corner as to where it goes.
Right. And that was one of the things that I had mentioned, that if you're not sure about a link, almost every browser, if you move over, it's either going to pop up over the top of it, it's going to say click on this, and it's going to give you the address. And if it is not identical to the company that's sending it, 99% chance it's not correct. Now, that being said, Twitter, you put a long email address in, a web drive address, and you get a Twitter thing, it's going to shorten it automatically. Yeah. So those ones are a little bit harder to deal with, but they also filter a lot of those on your social media accounts. So in the email, you can also right-click on it, and at the bottom it'll say properties, and it'll tell you what the email address is. But always check the emails addresses on those hyperlinks before you click on them.
And then, so I have either realized this is a spam or a phishing attempt, but unfortunately, in my rush to get the screen off my computer as fast as possible, I accidentally clicked something, or I feel as though this is a real message, and I've clicked on it. Now what happens?
So typically what they'll do is they'll take you to some place. They have already found whatever that link is supposed to go to. They've already rebuilt that website, that page. Say it was Microsoft as an example, right? So you know that if you were to go and type into Google, I want to get Microsoft Office, you know it's going to go to office.com or 365office.com. It's going to take you to their Microsoft site. This one, however, takes you to nothing even close to it, but it looks legitimate.
Right.
You have your logins on the right-hand side. Everything looks identical, but you'll type everything in and you'll hit login and it'll say, can't do it. So you'll try another password. It says it can't do it. What they're doing is they're getting copies of everything you're typing.
And every password that you may have used.
Right.
Oh,
so then they're going to use that. That algorithm then hits the computer systems on the other end and says, hey, this person's really trying. Let's it got a trigger. Let's go see if we can get into their account. And then from there, they can get things, because a lot of them don't fog your whole credit card information anymore. So now your credit card information, your 3-digit codes, things like that. Some websites don't require 3-digit codes anymore. So all they need to get is your name, your address, your credit card information, and your basic stuff, your expiration date and your number. And from there, they now can use that information, and they'll either sell it, and you won't know about it for about 6 months, and then something comes up. So if something doesn't work right, if you click the reset my password, they're smart enough to actually have that go to Microsoft. So now you think you were on the right site the whole time.
Yeah.
It now takes you back, and then when you're done resetting it, it says click here, and it looks like the same page, but you're really on Microsoft again, because you'll notice the web address is different. So they've already taken your information, and you may have reset, you may have not. But the key is that most people, and I found this, will use the same password for lots of websites. Oh, yeah. So they don't care maybe if they didn't get into that one, but now they're going to look and see what else they can get from you. They may have also, when you clicked on that, if you don't have a good antivirus, if your Windows operating system's not up to date, people I know don't like the Windows 10 updates that are coming around, you got to run them. You have to get through them. Yes, they mess up some things. If they do, people like me can usually walk you through a quick fix over the phone. But the biggest thing is you want to have your firewall turned on. You want to make sure your antivirus is up to date daily. Check it. Sometimes they're set to manual. You want to make sure that your operating system is up to date and your anti-spyware. I know that sounds funny because I got an antivirus in it. We'll use an example like AVG. Great antivirus. Avast, great antivirus. A lot of people have the free version.
Yeah. Even
the full paid internet security version doesn't do enough for the phishing as something like Malwarebytes, WebRoot. Those programs are designed to look at different algorithms completely, because a phishing attack, a spyware attack, adware attack, they're completely different than a full-blown encryption infection. So it's important to have all that technology. The other thing is, when you're clicking on these links, if they don't go the first time, that's a big key for you. Or if they're taking a long time to load, when you click on something and every other page is fast, but this one's long, it's actually probably trying to put something into your browser to control it. So those are things to keep in mind. If you're not going to be home for long periods of time, people say, I leave my computer all the time. In the age of broadband, we really should turn that down. If you're not going to be home for all day long, because all broadband accounts pretty much have a type of static IP, there are people out there that phish and attack, and this is mostly for businesses. When you go home at the end of the night, if you don't need to have your computers on, it's recommended you turn them off, even with firewalls.
Troy, we're just about out of time.
Yeah, no problem.
So why don't you give me your folks the contact information,
Sure.
And then what I'd like for you to do is, since I shared your post on our Facebook page, maybe put some of these additional notes on there. If you've got the time. I know you're a busy guy.
Yep. I got a PDF I can send you, and then they can download with all the information. So.
And it's safe. How about the contact information for you and Computer Creations Northwest?
I'm in Belfair and Shelton. It's Computer Creations Northwest. My phone number 800-791-4856, and you can email me at support@computercnw.com, and I'm happy to send you out this packet.
And I will put the links there into the show notes as well.
Okay,
well, thanks,
great.
Troy. We'll get you back in as the winter holiday moves forward.
Woohoo! Christmas time's coming!
And we can talk
that
about
was my
your
plug.
love for Christmas, or we can continue to talk about being safe online. Troy, Jasmin, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Good
Thanks,
to see
Jeff.
you.